I'd like to call this meeting to order, 6:01. Before we do, can we all stand? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And at this time, I would like to ask for any public comment on items that are not on the agenda tonight.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm just curious, it's my understanding that the town paid to purchase 2 airline tickets for a conference, and I'm just wondering, has the town been reimbursed for the airline ticket that's not for an employee of the town?
I think that was addressed last meeting, but would you like to address that?
Absolutely can. Those 2 tickets were purchased so that myself and another manager could sit together. And what ended up happening was he paid for it and I sent him the money from the town to cover my portion of the tickets, the 2 tickets.
Oh, okay, so he purchased them and then
Correct.
paid for one. Okay, thank you.
Nothing else? At this time, I'd like to go into a public hearing on a proposed junkyard moratorium ordinance extension. So if you have anybody that has any interest or concerns about that, now's the time to talk about that.
Where's the junkyard? Just out of curiosity.
No, it's an ordinance that the planning board is gonna rework, but they haven't had time to get on it and work on it and finalize it. So, they're gonna ask us to extend the moratorium so they have time to, work on it and get it finalized. They've had a lot to do, and we put a moratorium on, and because they haven't got to it,
Okay.
we're looking at extending that moratorium until they finalize the new ordinance.
Okay.
Seeing none, I'll end the public hearing on the junkyard moratorium. Adjustments to agenda, anything? No? Okay. The consent agenda, item A, AP warrant number 33 in the amount of $27,940.23. Item B, AP warrant number 34 in the amount of $343,989.19. Item C, payroll warrant number 23 in the amount of $6,480.91. Item D, payroll warrant number 24 in the amount of $4,026.97. And item E, payroll warrant number 25 in the amount of $5,334.45. Do I have any public comment on that? Yes, ma'am.
Mike, could you just, with regard to warrant B, what is that expense?
On which one, A or B?
Well, both, if you can address both, please.
That is more, what are the words I want to use? Operational expenses.
Are you asking for what cost so much to put that in? What the totals were? The one with 300 was for, this is 33, it's 34.
Probably a school payment in there.
School payment, school transportation. I haven't paid the county tax yet because that's due the July 1, but school usually takes 270,000 somewhere in there a month, so, yeah, thank you. And they're always here to look at it if you're interested, thank you.
So I need a motion
I'll make a motion.
to approve that.
Article A through E.
So I have a motion, do I have a second? I have a motion and a second. All in favor? New business. Discuss with CEO Mr. Lombard regarding 81 Wellman Road. Yes, sir.
Good evening, gentlemen. Evening, Victor Lawrence property, we've dealt with this several times. Actually, the property owner went down and the actual owner went down and did quite a bit down there. Sent in and to follow up on at least once a week. And he's basically done nothing. It looks better only because the flowers and the trees and everything sprouted out, but you still got the junk cars down there. Trash all over the place, and he just, same old thing, you know, he's doing nothing. So I'm just kind of treading water unless the board agrees to move forward, take this guy forward.
What has he done that you asked him to do?
Last
Or what is he
summer,
violating, I should say?
He's still got junk all over the yard. It's got 3 cars there, unregistered, uninspected. You can only have 2 legally, and that's all state law. He's got, you name it, he's got it out back. Tires, drums, barrels, and the other mobile home on the property is riddled with junk. And Mark and I went down there and inspected the inside of that. And the last time I was there in the kitchen, the ceiling was down kind of like this. So if that burst, I'd be a tidal wave inside the kitchen. And he hadn't done anything to fix it.
He had promised, he's giving you, well, you gave him dates on when to, he needed to have it cleaned up.
Yeah, he's basically done nothing
Yep.
for the most part. Other than the sheds out front of his house, I don't know if you guys been by there or not. It's 2 sheds, probably 12 by 16 and 20. I think the kids are living out of them. You got extension cords right out from the trailer to.
Those are expensive.
Yeah.
Jason?
Thoughts on it?
Yes.
I worked out with them for, I mean, this is, yeah, been ongoing, so whatever support you need to pursue it so that it's addressed, I would suggest that that's the support we would get.
I think if we don't take that next step, we're gonna be having the same conversation next year at this time.
I'm definitely good to take court action and go from there.
Good, thank you.
Absolutely.
So I think it's unanimous. Do you have any public comment on that? Seeing none, do you need anything from us, or just our blessing, or?
Just a green light.
Do what you gotta do. Okay,
Thank you.
all right.
Good.
Item 2, new business, discuss and consider renewal of the junkyard moratorium ordinance. So we just had that quick brief meeting. I assume that they would like us to extend it another 180,
180 days.
so that they can work on it. And everyone, so I
They've
would,
been busy, so.
any public comment on that, on this issue? So I would take a motion.
Make a motion to extend the moratorium for 180 days.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second, all in favor? Item 3, new business, request for account signer. Sandra Devaney.
Yes, so as you know, town meeting did approve moving forward with our additional help in the front office. That being said, Sandra's gonna move into helping a lot more with the finance for 2 days a week she's here. I'm asking for this board's approval to place her on the bank accounts, so in case I'm absent, she can sign checks. Currently, in the past, you had Cheryl on there, and then I came, and it was both of us. But this would remove Cheryl and put her on it.
So it's still be 2.
Correct.
I make a motion that we approve Sandra DeVay to be the account signer.
So I have a motion, do I need a second? Second. A motion is second, any public comments? All in favor? Discussion with, item number 4 on new business, discussion with First Alarm Lawn Care contract obligations. Would you like to start?
Sure. I put this item on the agenda because there were several complaints regarding his actions or lack thereof of taking care of the cemeteries mostly. And I know there's been a couple of times I spoke to him about addressing things here at the town office. I did believe he was gonna be here this evening, he's probably at a fire meeting, but in between me placing this on the agenda, he did submit a letter of resignation resignation, which you guys have a copy of. He's basically has resigned effective the end of the season, which will require us to send that back out to bid this fall for summer '25.
So whenever something like this happens, which hasn't happened very often, we as a town only have so much money to spend whoever picks this up next year, is that correct?
We have budgeted $13,500.
All right, so
Yes.
what happens, let's just say we don't get any companies to come forward to take over this last year for that amount, what does the town do then?
The only other option would be to
Special?
go to special town meeting and ask for additional funds.
Okay. Any thoughts?
I'll go ahead. So, there's been a pile of complaints with this for 2 years. Grass is up over your knees over the headstones. The complaints I get for a lot of things in town are 7 days a week, Sunday at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And if some issues, I can address it by talking to the person, I can fix it then. If not, it's another issue. Goes to Christine, she messages it on to the person that has the issue. This issue has been going on 2 years, multiple complaints, it's time to make a change. It's not working out for the town. Our cemeteries look terrible. The town office is a hayfield most of the time. We got an email yesterday from a resident town with pictures of just, can't even see the headstones. It's a disgrace. The taxes are high in this town, and the residents do not get a good service. It's unacceptable in my opinion. He put a resignation letter in, attacking myself, and the fact that he isn't here to support himself was even more not feeling. He puts in here that it's been a long 2 years, complaints mostly coming from one board member. There's a personal issue there that are getting in the way of this member and us completing our work. There's been never once I sat in front of his truck to drive to the cemetery and mow it. So if there's an issue, it's on his side. He isn't here tonight. At this point, I'm over it. The next person in line that bidded on this in spring, I'd give him a call and see if he can take it over for the rest of the year. I'll do his Alex Sargent and move forward with it. That's my opinion, and that's where I stand with it.
Your thoughts?
What are the legal issues with, if he's resigning the contract at the end of the season, and we choose to, instead of opting to take that option, we opt to terminate the contract mid-season, what type of liability do we put ourselves at risk for?
Actually, I thought I brought his contract, I did, it's in here. I believe it can be terminated on our part, but not necessarily on his part.
It has to be breached and then terminated.
Yeah, if he fails to perform according to the terms of the contract and at the time and in the manner specified, the failure shall be a breach of contract. And then basically, he would be given written notice as to the nature of the breach. There's nothing in here that says that he has any repercussions of getting done. So that's certainly something we can look forward at when we redo this contract in the fall.
Is there language in there that describes what constitutes a breach of contract?
No.
Has he been notified that the contract is not being fulfilled to the expectations of the town officially?
He has been given copies of the email complaints, shown pictures that I've received. So technically, yes, but nothing in writing from myself as the town manager, because he is a contracted person, he works for the board.
My initial thought would be is that this is if we can get him to comply with what the expectations are, is that this is the cleanest way for both sides to exit this agreement. Because it's mutually agreed upon, I would say at that point. So this would be my suggestion is that we receive this, our expectations that are through the remainder of the season, that these are the specific concerns that need to be addressed. Should they not be addressed, then we will look to terminate the contract. Is he in any way bonded for his work? So there's no way to hold him accountable for the remainder of the contract should we have to incur more expenses.
That is correct, no.
So that's it.
I will say most municipalities don't bond something so small.
Yeah. Right. Do we know if the other contractor would pick this up?
We do not know that, I have not reached out to him.
Because if the way that this is written, this would have to be put back out to a bid. At the end of this season, we'd have to rebid it.
That would be up to the purview of the board, if you wanted to rebid it, or just hire the next person if they're willing to take on the amount that we have budgeted, which is $13,500.
I mean, I wouldn't do anything until we talk. Has Steve seen this yet? I wouldn't do anything until he gives us an opinion on whether we terminate him now, if we go the end of the year, can it be given to the second guy, if there's any, if that can legally be done, or if it has to go out to bid. So I think we need those questions answered before we make a decision. I mean, that's,
Yeah, I think that's reasonable.
I mean, just so it doesn't put the town in a liable issue if we do something. I just think it's looking out for the town that we
And I
get legal advice.
Yeah, and I get the issues, I've seen the pictures, it's not acceptable. We just wanna make sure that the paper trail is there, should he continue to not perform, that we can say, you were given proper warning of this, and now we're terminating the contract, and not the other way around. So,
It does say right in his contract, though, that if he doesn't meet expectations, we can breach and then terminate said against contract, so it's.
Right, but I think that the issue is, has he been given what would constitute a formal warning, a formal notice that he is not in compliance with the contract? And telling him, I'm not sure that an email saying the grass isn't cut the way we want it meets that threshold.
And I
We
get
may be
it,
to send this out
and the thing is, like, what's the time frame on it? We got 4th of July coming in, the cemeteries are gonna look at hayfield, it's unacceptable. I mean, I just can't take much more of it. It's just next meeting in July, then we're gonna talk about this again, then it'll be, another month, and what's the time frame?
But you have to look at the other side. If we terminate him, there has to be someone that is willing to pick it up from here on in. Even if it takes another month to, he's agreed to go through the rest of the year. At least you have some type of service for the cemeteries until we can get a legal opinion on how we can do this. The last thing I would want is to terminate him. I mean, it's, let me see us raise a hand, who's gonna go mow the lawns? You know, if Alex will do it.
I'm not worried about it. I'm pretty confident that Alex is gonna jump right on. He lives in town, and I'm pretty confident.
But even if we don't do it properly, we're gonna pay Alex, and then we're gonna pay him the remainder of his contract. And so, what's worse than paying him for a job that's not being done well, is paying him for a job that's
Well,
not being done well.
his contract, if we agree that it's not done to the contract, which is, he's boarded all over it, he's done as of the day we say he's done, and then it takes over the next person to finish the year as the contract states.
Right, but I think that he has to be given he has to be given a notice before you terminate the contract. That is, it's official and something, yeah, Travis.
Yeah, so the point of the contract is so everything's in writing, so, I mean, if someone's not fulfilling a contract, I got a pile of roads, you have to be bonded. In my opinion, you should be bonded for even little jobs. I know a lot of towns don't, but we gotta be safe with the town, our tax dollars, people pay a lot of taxes in this town, we need to make sure it's something like this, that the town is covered it.
Well, I don't think the issue is that we don't all agree that the work has not been satisfied.
Right.
It's getting an opinion from the attorney so that we don't put the town liable for anything, that a decision we make without, that's why we pay the town attorney.
Right.
So if it makes,
When you reach a contract, just seems you.
and you're probably right.
Right.
But if it takes a month to get a legal opinion that states that,
Yeah.
we can't put the town liable. If we do, no matter who it is, comes back and sues the town, you people are pissed at us because we just put the town, just because we're trying to make a decision too early. You know, that's why we pay our attorney. We gotta get a legal opinion on it. Pardon?
It's been going on for 2 years, his lack of care and following his contract.
Well, whenever you have a company that has a signed contract, it's always easy to, well, we're just gonna fire them. But you have to have a backup plan. Someone has to step in, number one. Number two, you gotta make sure, even though it's in the contract, you just gotta get legal opinion so it covers the town's butt on firing a contractor. So in this case, maybe it'll take an extra month, 2 weeks. I can't answer that, I'm not an attorney, but we have to get an opinion. And that's why we pay our town attorney for these situations like this. I've done this 15 years. I haven't come across a situation like this in a long time. This could be it's gonna be my second. So, it doesn't happen very often, so you've gotta get a legal opinion.
I think he has the right to he actually has, like you say, you need to give him the proper notice, because if you don't, and you get rid of him, then he can sue you for the remainder of his contract's profits if you don't do it properly. I don't know how you guys pay him, but is he paid like one check at the beginning of the season, or is he throughout?
He has 7 installments.
So the proper thing is, it's just like me, if the customer's not happy with my job, I have a right as a customer to either fix that first, which that's what, if you complain to him, he's doing a bad job, he has the right to correct and fix that before he's actually fired. Because if you fire him too soon, then he does have the right to come back after the remainder of his contract. If you are so far into the season, you're gonna spend more money than it's worth to get rid of that guy. But I get what you're all saying, you're not happy with his work, but it's pretty deep into the season. Hopefully you just have a talk with him and he straightens up and does what he's supposed to.
Any other public comment? So, we're gonna get a legal opinion. You're gonna forward this to him, and we can bring it up at the next meeting, and talk about it after we get legal. Are we all set with that? So, no action was taken tonight. All right, new business number 5, discussion with Clyde Fowler regarding the Birmingham Road. Do we want to
Oh,
talk to-
sorry.
I don't know.
I thought you were looking at him. So this is an agenda item. I had spoken to Mr. Fowler last week, I believe it was, in regards to Birmingham Road, where I did some research and I got back to him on Friday with what I had found for research. He in turn asked to be on the agenda, because I kind of talked to him about maybe waiting until we figured out what I could find and whatnot, but he did request to be on the agenda. Chairperson agreed to put him on the agenda, and I believe he's here this evening? Okay.
Yep.
Sorry, I didn't recognize you, but to speak to this board in regards to the Birmingham Road and his request for clarification.
Yeah, and I think we kind of hit on this before when I was here about clarification. It's more of the paperwork end of clarification. We can sit here and have verbal conversation, and I just was 2 out of 3 of you. I know Jake wasn't there, but was you as well part of the when they fixed it or whatever it was at that time?
No.
No, not the original one, but the last one that they did to critique it.
2014, no.
Okay.
Just me.
Yep, so it's just you, so, I wasn't sure of that, because she said it was your last meeting, and I said, well, if he was part of that, it would be the time to talk to him now, and not when he's gone too, like whoever else is. So, but I mean, when I go back to clarification, I'm just still looking for that, it's how long has it been probably since the last time I was here?
Couple years.
Couple of years?
Yeah.
So, yeah, so I'm still dealing with the lawyer bills, I'm still dealing with moving forward with this, and from the town, as you guys did what you did back then, and when I ask for clarification, I get a little bit of it, a little of this, and a little of that. I'm looking for a clean slate of something, whether it's the minutes or whatever it is, of the clarification. I want something that's physical, that states what the intentions was to discontinue that road at the time. Like when we just had our conversation last Friday, like she was saying, when I listened to her read it, and it says clear as day that they did away with the public easement, and there's no discussing of private easements or anything like that. That's the stuff that I'm looking at and looking to get the clarification. Is that when this got all done, is that the clarification that she reads to me, that you're looking to discontinue public easement, but you never did nothing with private easement, because the fact of when we get into damage talk and homeowners and third parties, is that the clarification that we was discontinuing
So-
one but not the other?
So let me tell you what I remember from 2014.
Yep.
Going over the notes, it was discontinued, I believe, in the 40s.
43,
It was discontinued in 43, but it was never finalized.
Right.
I believe in 2003, Guy Berthium, Rick Danforth, Carol Swan, 2002, my bad, brought it up. I don't know what the minutes say back then, but it was never finalized. In 2014, when it was brought up again, it was myself, Rick Danforth, Ben Smith. We had 3 roads that night, I believe, if I'm correct. Don Deere Road, Ellen Avenue, and Birmingham Road. And all it was just cleaning up what was done in the past by 2 select boards from the 40s and 2002. So that's what we did. All we did is, it had already been discontinued. We just finalized the whole process. It was taken to the registry of deeds and recorded. That's all we did. So then you buy it a couple of years later, and we have been dealing with this, with these questions ever since. And it's nothing the board can do. I mean, our attorney can give you an understanding of what happened. I'm not an attorney, nor these 2 guys. We're not gonna say or do anything to put the town in jeopardy. So if you're looking for something from this board, I'm gonna say that, being the chair, it's gonna come from our attorney. He'll go through it, get a legal opinion, and either give it to you or your attorney. But, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, that's how it has to go down. We can't make a decision, something, Clyde, we're gonna reverse that, and it's gonna go back to a public easement. We don't have that authority to do that.
Right, but no one's asking to do that.
Well, I mean, okay, I'm not gonna get into that.
No, that's what I'm saying, like the clarification of what you guys intended to do that day. I'm not asking to turn the whole thing over to, but the way that you did it as the board, you said you were cleaning up whatever it is, but if something was done wrong before, is it, or is it not that you had to go through and do everything 100% proper to the most updated year to have it accurate to the newest findings and filings?
I can't answer that. I would leave that question to be answered by our town attorney.
I guess I don't understand where the town attorney comes into that, since you guys was the ones discontinuing the
Well,
road.
you're looking for some type of legal opinion. I can't give you that, Clyde.
Yeah, I'm
Nor
not
can Jason
looking
or
for a
Jake.
legal opinion, I was looking for what the town did that day. Like, what was your intentions? Like, you must know, like, when you discontinue a road, you either know you did away with it, written in there in your notes or whatever, that you did away with private easement, or you did away with public easement. All I read in there is it says you did away with public easement, therefore, I mean, because you know you guys didn't pay damages to no one, so is that, I'm asking, is that your intentions? That you didn't pay damages because you didn't do away with private easements, or did you leave it as private easements? I mean, I don't know how we discontinued all this and not know if we did it right or did it wrong. That's what I guess I'm asking.
And again, I'm gonna leave that to the attorney. That's what we pay them for, to dig into that, to go back to the 40s and see how it was done and move forward. Again, this board cannot make an opinion on whether it was done right or wrong.
Right, but don't you have to follow the procedures to do it right or wrong?
That when it came to us in 2014, it was brought to the 3 selectmen, and it was brought to our attention that we're just cleaning up. And the 3 other roads, that's exactly what we did. It was done, it was finalized through the registry of deeds, and you know.
So you did all those roads the same way, and
I-
you don't know if they're all done right or wrong?
I believe, it's my recollection that, and it was 10 years ago, maybe Allen Avenue was done different, I don't know. I don't remember, but I believe all 3 were very, very similar.
Yeah, so discussing, like, when you say talk to the attorney about this, like, I didn't bring my attorney here tonight just because I didn't really feel the need that, like, I just was gonna be an open chat about this. But like, if I have my attorney contact them for clarification, see, like, the only thing that, like, where we're at right now, being in for 2 or 3 years, like, if I feel that something's done wrong, like, I'm not trying to go after the town and list them in the lawsuit. The lawsuit's already happening, and the next step for me, like, if I can't.
Ladies,
If I can't get any clarification, the only way to get, you know, like, I'm asking, is that how that works? Is our lawyers are just gonna chat with each other back and forth? Or is he gonna get the same dead-end answers, like, we don't know what we did for discontinuing 3 roads?
well, again, this has been going on for a while.
Right.
I mean, we have residents here that want it ended. I'm sure you want to finalize this. We're not gonna finalize it. Whatever's gonna happen, it's my opinion, it'll come down to the attorneys. The opinion of your attorney and the opinion of our attorney. And typically attorneys butt heads. You know, I want it done as much as anybody. I've been hearing about it for 7 years. You know, so let's get it over
Do you
with.
live on one of the roads that has the issue as well?
I do not live on a road that,
Or are you part of one that had an issue as well?
I had an issue with, yes.
Like, so really on this situation, like, I mean, I guess we're gonna have to talk to the town's attorney anyways, but I guess, like, if you're a factor of one of the roads and you're picking one of the sides, you need to, you know what I mean? Like, you're either on this side or that side, because I guess it plays a factor if you get a private easement on your road or a public, so it's kind of like, for you to answer this question, it's kind of
You know
biased
something,
to
Clyde,
the
if you want me to
situation.
recuse myself,
No.
I
I'm saying,
have no
but-
problem backing away.
Right, but that's what I'm saying though, in your scenario, if you
Yep.
have something to lose in this,
Yep.
if you have one of these same roads I have, except that you feel
Yep.
you don't want the private easement versus the public, yeah, there's obviously
If you
conflict
think
of
I could be
interest.
biased, I have no problem in stepping back.
So,
You know.
okay, so on your road up there, do you want private easements coming through? I understand the public, when you do away with the public easement, public, you're done. There's no reason for no one to go past that situation. But are you on your road in your situation, because I don't really know your situation, do you want private easements on yours, or are you against that?
So, I mean, maybe, let me take this so Mike's not
Yeah.
in the middle of it in case there's a perceived, benefit for him.
I was just asking where he
Yeah,
stood,
no,
because
no.
there is a difference, like, if he doesn't want people coming down his road privately, he's on the same fence as these guys, but that doesn't mean that it's accurate, that's just what we want, or they want, or I want, you know?
So I met with with the abutters, and we went back and we talked to somebody that had done survey work on that. And what we came to as a conclusion at the end of that for the Allen Ave issue was, this is a private landowner issue, that the town doesn't have a dog in this fight anymore. And so the only thing that the town is going to do at this point is to make sure that we don't make a misstep that would make the town liable for something that we don't have any interest in. And so that's why we're arguing this from the point of, we need the town attorney to say, the town has no liability and no claim in this. And so that the town can step back out of this and let the landowners come to a decision on their own. Because this isn't really a town issue. There's no intent for the town to ever reestablish roads through any of those areas. So the town doesn't care. Essentially, it's kind of my take on it. The town, whatever happens to that land is between the landowners, because it's not like the town of Chelsea is going to be building a road through any of those areas using the existing easements that we'd had on the books since, the one on Allen Road went back into the 1800s someplace. And so,
But where you say that the town doesn't have that, the town, I understand, wants to step back and say we have nothing in this, but the problem with that is, if you don't pay damages to no one, being the board, and you didn't pay damages to nobody, you're at a big, like I said, I've got a purchase and sale with Spurwing School right now, and I think I told you guys that before. Spurwing School and me have a purchase and sale. Well, when they came forward, I went to buy that land, I can show you good, like, damage money, because when I went to buy it, I offered them a price, and they were gonna be like, yeah, well, their lawyer did all the research and said, well, we have a right-of-way still through there, so they wanted more money. So that's one scenario right there. The difference is $5,000 and $25,000. So there's damage number one on that lot for 20. So this is why I say, if the town doesn't know if they did it right or wrong, then who's going to know who did it if you guys as a board? Like, you guys all sat there and voted, no damages, no damages, no damages. Why can't someone, like, answer the questions, how are you voting on something if you don't know what it is you're voting on?
I get all of that, but land use stuff is so convoluted and so complex. I will tell you this quick story. My father just had to hire a lawyer to claim land that he's paid taxes on since he was 16 years old because of a deed issue that went back to 1952. And it cost him almost $30,000 in legal fees to say that that was his land. This stuff happens. Like, we can't go back. There's no way that the board can go back and undo anything that was done in 1940, 2002, 2014. We can't do something that we don't have the power to do today because somebody might have made a mistake 10, 20, or 80 years ago. So we have to rely on a legal opinion to say, from point now, 2024, moving forward, this is how the town of Chelsea has to represent themselves in any issue that involves any of these three parcels of land. And that's just the process we have to go through. I mean, I get it. It sucks when you get into these things and you're like, I thought I was buying this, I thought I had access to this, and now it turns out I don't. Like, I would be upset too if I was in your position, but I think what we're trying to say is we don't have any ability. Whether I completely, if I 100% agreed with you, there's still nothing I can do about it without the lawyer saying the town of Chelsea doesn't have the right to weigh in on this one way or the other, or what I can't put the town at risk for, and I know you're talking, legal stuff and what the damages could be, but we also can't make decisions that would potentially put us, you have one opinion of this, right? There are other people in this room that I'm sure have a different side of that opinion. And so if we side with you and say, yeah.
But
we
I
think
wasn't
that-
looking for you to side with me, I was looking for you guys to answer the question, what did you guys intend to do that day? Because it's one or the other.
Right. I have no idea. I wasn't here, no one,
Yeah.
and so, I wasn't.
I'm gonna, like, I don't get where this is going with the town lawyer, this, that, because if I need to do this, and as they know, I've already got the 3 lawsuits going the way it is. Next week, with this, when I go to my attorney again with no answer again on none of this, because I can't get clarification of what you guys intended to do, I'm gonna look at it that it was done wrong, and then we're gonna come up like, I got Tim Willett right now that offered me a certain amount of money for my piece of property on the backside of that road right now. Now, I can start showing what the total of damages is by not being able to sell any of this land. So, like, I mean, I don't know if you guys just look at your town of Chelsea stuff, if you actually look at the discontinuation of municipal roads, but the first 5 paragraphs in here, it tells you how to do them, and when it's either it's done right or it's done wrong, and no one's willing to answer that question.
The attorney-
Because they're worried about putting themselves on the hook.
Right.
And I'm gonna, when I leave this meeting, I'm gonna take it as you guys did it wrong, and I'm gonna add the town next week to a lawsuit, and this is how we're gonna go about this versus,
Right.
like, you know that, me and you talking last week, is like a mediation of skipping over all the monies and the finances. If we're gonna mediate and talk like that, you know, without the lawyers, because all we're gonna both do is pay money, but if I need to, I'm gonna look at this as that it's done wrong, because no one wants to answer, because they're worried about, if I say this or if I say that, if you're telling me I'm wrong, I'm fine with that. You know, if you're telling them they're wrong, whether they're fine with it, that's up to them. But, I mean, there should be some type of clarification of something that got voted on to say what we meant to do that day. I mean, I don't know why you can't say whether you did, I mean, it says it in your minutes, but no one's willing to say it.
I can't comment on the intent of another board from some other point.
Yeah.
And that's, we can't say you're right, and we can't say somebody else is wrong.
We don't have that ability. So this is unfortunately why the world is full of lawyers that make piles of money litigating this stuff. And I mean, that is unfortunate that that's the way things work out sometimes, but that's also the process. I mean, every time somebody has any issue with a title, you hire a title attorney, and that's lawyers trying to figure out whether that pin was where it should have been, or whether this deed was recorded correctly, or, yeah, it's a convoluted process that's wicked expensive, I get that, and you may or may not be losing money, you know, but that's how the process is set up to work. And just because a process maybe wasn't followed, or I don't even know whether it was followed correctly or not, wasn't here. Shouldn't comment on it at all, whether it's done right or not done right. I can't arbitrarily now just do something that would favor you because somebody else may have made a mistake a ways back. We've got to let lawyers figure it out at that point. So I get it. So if you're gonna go to your lawyer, you know, if you're calling your lawyer tomorrow morning to say, we've got to add Chelsea to this lawsuit, then that's the process, right? We don't, no harm, if you feel like if you need your attorney to represent you against the town to figure this out,
Well, I just can't get any clarification.
that's what attorneys are for.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, like,
But that's the thing, with 2 attorneys talking, it shouldn't have had to go, that's why I'm here, I'm trying not to take this to a level where people are suing each other over a situation that we should be able to answer that question here. And if it doesn't come out of your mouth, it should come out of the town's attorney's mouth of what you guys intended to do that day. I just don't know what we're voting on and stuff if we don't know what we're doing. Like, with this situation, it's cut and dry. It should be a cut and dry answer that.
but I think we asked you like to not have this meeting tonight because the attorney wasn't gonna be here. This conversation could well have been over by now if the attorney had been able to be here present, but he's not.
But we actually, the last time the town attorney was here, we kind of went in the same circle. It was the same circle we're going in right now with no one got to the bottom of what was.
And listen, here's the thing, if you put 2 attorneys into a room, there's no guarantee that the 2 attorneys in and of themselves come to a conclusion. That's why we have judges. And so ultimately, you may litigate this thing to the tune of $50,000, $60,000, $100,000, and then have a judge say, this is how I interpret the law based on what I have for facts. I mean, two attorneys aren't a guarantee that you're gonna get an agreement.
Right.
So,
Right, because we can't even get an agreement,
Right.
same scenario.
and that doesn't, and here's the thing, Clive, is that, like, anytime, it sucks that that's the process that we live in this country, that it has to be that, but that's kind of the process that everybody has agreed to, is that when two people don't agree on something, or a law's been broken, you hire an attorney, the other person probably hires an attorney, the attorneys both get a lot of money out of both of you, and in the end, if they don't come to an agreement, a judge gives you some type of decision that neither one of you are gonna like.
Right.
And that's the way it
But if
is.
she can read a statement out of there that says that straight up, we discontinued public easement, why isn't it able to say that you guys, that your intentions was to discontinue public easements? She read it to me the other day that was what the scenario was. It says right in there, I don't know if you've got it handy, if you can read that one thing, where it says, the town of Chelsea discontinued public easement on the Birmingham Road. Isn't that clarifying what you did there?
If that's the case and the town attorney reads that and goes, yep, like, we shouldn't be having this discussion without him here. It's way above anything that I'm comfortable, like, you're talking about, what's the value, what do you think the value of that land is for you? If you have an easement on it, what's the value of that land?
Oh, geez, if you break it down into 30 lots, I have 3.5 million.
All right, I'm not making a $3.5 million decision for the town of Chelsea tonight.
No, that's fine, I wasn't trying to go that way to have, but I
All
just
right.
wanted that piece there that she had read to me. Can we at least read that statement there? And maybe it'll refresh of what the intentions was. 'Cause we know that
You
we all
can read it, but
voted
it's
to
not
not
gonna
go
change
to
anything, you're not making a
damages.
decision tonight without Steve. You can read it.
This is page 2 of the certificate of discontinuance. Notice of vote on order of road discontinuance, Birmingham Road. The order also states that the amount of damages to be paid to abutting property owners, i.e. $0. A copy of that order is attached to this notice and is incorporated herein. The municipality will have no obligation to maintain, repair, or plow the road, and the public will not have the right to continue using the road as a public easement. And it was signed by Ben Smith, Mike Pushard, and Rick Danforth on December 10th, 2014. And it said, please send a copy of this notice along with the order of discontinuance of a road to all abutters on the road in question, and send same to local planning board.
Right, so when I read that or hear that, like, I just don't know how there's no clarification from the board that did that evening. So if that's what their intention was, to discontinue private.
That reading sit right there said no public easement.
Right. No public easement, correct.
The public will not have the right to continue using the road as a public easement.
So, Jake, what are your thoughts?
Well, I wasn't here for any of it, so it says no public easement in there, and that's as clear as we have it here, I would assume. That's what we have in front of us. If that's not enough for you, I would say then let the attorneys go back.
Okay.
Yeah, Steve.
Hold, just 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Do I have any other public comment? Okay, Clyde, go ahead.
Yeah, and I don't disagree 100% that you guys did away with public easement, like you're saying. But the part that, the clarification problem that I'm having is, that's clear as day. No one in this room that lives past there, except for there's, I think, Pierce's, Brunel, and Spurwink are the only few people that this has an issue with this, because we're not public, we're private easements, which I'm not asking you to declare if I have my private easement or not, because I already know the answer to that scenario. But when we start talking about awarding no damages, that's the part, that's the meeting that you guys did, and if there's no damages awarded, like you guys all voted on, was that because your intentions was to not do away with the private easement, so you didn't pay nobody, or you just didn't do it right? So that's the part that I guess is the problem that I'm having. I'm not getting an answer
Let
from
me
what you
just
guys
say
voted
this,
on.
and we brought the town, we looked to discontinue, is it Spice Lane, Old Thomason Road, and what's the other one across the bridge? Right down here. What's that called? right before 226.
Yeah, I know
There's,
what you're doing.
there's a washed out bridge. Old Thompson Road is on the other side of the bridge, and then the other side is called,
Whatever it is.
so we look to discontinue that, 5 years ago. And Scott had somebody that looked up damages. I don't know who, I don't remember who the person, if it's an attorney or somebody who does that. If I remember, when we did that, or when we brought it in front of the townspeople, I believe there was figures on damages. The town decided not to discontinue it, so no damages were done. What was done in the 40s and or 2002, I don't know. But when this was brought to us, when in 2014, it was led to the board that this is just finishing up housekeeping is what it was called back then, the 3 roads. And that's what we did. So, and from that, do I have any other public comment? So what I would say is if you want something in writing from the board or from the town regarding this, Christine will take all that information she talked to you about, talk to our attorney, and somehow get you a legal opinion on what this all means, if that's what you need. But it's gotta come, Clyde, you gotta understand, it's gotta come from our attorney.
Yeah, that's fine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's fine. That's why I'm here, I'm working with you guys, because I really don't wanna be still in the
Nobody
town I
does.
live in and go down that road. It's clarification, and that's why I said, if in 2014, like you're saying, we still have to meet the newest, when you go back in and you start playing with those things, it's gotta be updated, and correct me if I'm wrong, you told me how long you was in municipality or whatever. Isn't it, you have to update it to the newest rules, regulations, to everything?
That's not what I completely.
No, you didn't say that, I'm saying, you could say I'm stating that, but isn't that the way it is? Once you go back into discontinuing roads, you need to update them to the most modern rules and regulations if they were done wrong.
No, I did not tell you that. I said I didn't know how a court.
No, I'm
would
stating that.
Oh, okay.
But me and you discussed it a little bit, but yeah, but that's the same stuff, like I said, it's the circle game, 2, 3 years later, the lawyers think you're saying, I'm just, like, I've gotta make a decision here, I'll give it next week to talk, like, if you wanna talk to your town attorney, I'll talk to one more time, and if you can come up with any type of clarification but it's not about discontinuing the public, I'm not looking to reverse a wide open road to the public. I'm looking to just have access to my property, through my private easement, and private easement should be, I guess the question for the town lawyer is, when you guys decided not to pay damages, is that because you left the private easements in the place is why you did it? Or you decided just not to pay damages because, that should be a question that should be able to be answered. Either you didn't pay damages because you meant to leave private easement, so therefore you didn't pay damages, or if you didn't pay damages, it's definitely done wrong. And I am gonna go move forward with opening it up to get it fixed, because if it's no damages and you meant to do away with private easement, you were supposed to pay. And in that book, it says DOT is the person, you're supposed to have gotten a third party member to come aboard. The third party evaluates the loss, so that way the board isn't adjusting what, because that's why we have nothing valued. But the third party was the one that was supposed to come up with the numbers. That's the problem of the damages, and then discontinue the private easement. So,
They will he will get back to you.
So that's all the
Christine, one of the
clarification
two.
is that I'm asking for,
Yep.
is when you talk to them.
All right.
Is if they meant to do it the way they did it, for paying damages, or they did away with the private easement and didn't pay damages. So it's an either or. Someone's gonna be able to know that answer. That's why I shouldn't have to be, as a town resident that pays taxes, made to sue you guys to answer a question that you guys did in a meeting.
All right,
So, yep.
we'll take care of it.
Yep.
We all say guys? All right. On to legal, we have none. Written communications. Town manager's report.
So also, yeah, as you know, last week we were crazy busy with 2 new staff members and trying to pull elections out of the cobwebs in my head. We only had one minor issue that we worked out with the Secretary of State's office on preparing the tally, so it was a good day. The new intern's been very busy with Greg. She seems to really like code office work. She likes viewing all the properties that have issues. I'm moving into my new office slowly. I'm sure you guys have seen that. We did remove that sign last Friday. I did have law enforcement here. It was when they were doing their shift, so he showed up on time. It is stored here in the Connex box if that person would like to come and pick it up. My apologies on minutes. I just have not had time to complete them with keeping the front office staff up on everything. I do have 5 other things I'd like to run by the board if I could. Last year I did ask to close early on the last day of June for fiscal year end, so everybody can do their reports. We can do that. Do you have any issues with us closing on at 2:30 on June 28th?
Speaking of fiscal, where are we with the town audit?
Still not done.
I think we need to, this is the worst I've seen it since
Yes.
I've been here.
Yes.
Are we on the phone with them weekly?
They're actually emailing me. They're working on a lot of the 2023 checking account stuff, getting that balanced, but,
I would tell them it has to be done by,
okay.
Say June 28th.
June 28th is the last day of the month that we are open.
I just have concerns with people heading north for the 4th of July and not being able to, the weekend, I don't know, manufacturing that stuff, I mean.
Well, we'll be open Tuesday and Wednesday.
well, I mean, they can do it online,
Oh, I know.
have licenses, I know.
I know last year there was an issue,
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it was this date or not, but people tried to leave and that place was locked up or whatnot.
It-
I don't know if there's another day they can do this, I mean,
No, there's not. It is the end of the fiscal year, and if you say we're open till 4:30, staff will probably be here till 7, completing their year-end stuff. It just happens to fall on a Friday, unfortunately.
Can you close early? Can you open early and or close early? To make up for that 3 or 4 hours that they have to work?
Well, that's what she was asking.
Or next year,
Oh,
change the date.
Close early on
Oh,
Friday.
I'm sorry,
But you're
for some
asking-
reason I'm thinking for the whole day. No, I'm fine with that. But what time?
2:30.
30. I mean, I'd be okay with that. We gotta get it out there and let people know though.
Absolutely.
If everyone's all set with that.
I'm fine with
Okay. Tomorrow, we are closing a portion of Hollowell Road from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. In real life, it's probably gonna be 7 a.m. to about 2 p.m. It's in the vicinity of 518 Hollowell Road. They're replacing 2 culverts. All emergency responders have been notified, so we shouldn't have any issues with that. I did speak to both landowners that it will affect. The meeting in July, is the board okay with making it, I know this would pertain to you, but July.
Sure.
July 17th instead of the 10th. One chairperson will be on vacation the 10th, and I have another conflict that week also, so if we can put it to the 17th, it would be very helpful.
I don't have an issue. I'll order it. You were around, Jake?
Yeah, I'll be around.
Sherry?
17th, okay. As we're cleaning up my office, there is that big oak filing cabinet. I'm looking for this board to give approval to dispose of that. When I quickly looked this afternoon, it's a 1940s Globe Wernicke file cabinet. The one that I found online sold in the vicinity of $4,000. So I'm looking for this board to give
Do
approval.
we have more of them?
I'd like to send it out to bid, like sealed bid,
That's fine.
and dispose of it. It's empty, nobody's using it, so. Okay, you're all right with that? I'll put it on the upcoming agenda. And then lastly, I'd just like everybody to know, today we created a YouTube channel, which is part of the reason that she's recording this meeting. It will be placed on that YouTube channel. We will put the links on our website and out on social media every week so that people can view this meeting. Because of the candidate forum, we ended up having like 420-ish views of that on Facebook Live. So we thought this is at least to get the information out for everybody else, so look for that to come forward. That's all I have.
All right. Town clerk reports in there, code enforcement just left.
Code enforcement, there is a report. You guys may not have got it.
I don't have it.
No, I don't have it either, it's up there.
Is there 3 copies out there?
I won't go by it.
Sorry, I didn't put it on your table.
Oh, good job.
Yep.
Ah. Have a water on us. Back in school again.
We want to take a minute, guys, to go through this? Okay. Good. All right. Verbal communication, issue 12. Boards and committees. Municipal officers.
When are we gonna get our minutes? I can't, we've had a stressful like 3 or 4 weeks and I couldn't tell you what happened yesterday. I just wanna get up to speed with this, cause, when's the time frame for the next meeting or?
But yes, definitely by next meeting. We'll be past the end of the fiscal year and Sally's coming right up to speed, so yes, definitely.
That's it.
All right. So, with that being said, I'll make a motion to go into executive session at 7:02.